Jan, he gets very sick out of nowhere. Somebody who's never been to hospital.
Yeah.
So we're like, what's wrong? And this is the problem with, they usually say, when you live in like, why you and I can't go and eat like in, where can I say? Maybe not being demeaning, maybe Korogosho. Yeah, because maybe the water they cook with is not on a certain level, the whatever. The guys who are there are okay. They'll never.
But if
fall
someone
sick.
else comes,
Somebody else comes, because your immunity level is not on that level of that guy.
Yeah.
So the moment you get exposed to that thing,
Yeah.
it will probably take you out. So he's never been in hospital, never been. So there was never a time when you needed to ever check anything, if a guy is unwell and anything. Apparently, during his travels, during campaigns, in 1981, still young by then, one of those, because he would go on a campaign for like 2 weeks, because that constituency was massive, I told you.
Yeah.
One of those areas, there was a time when they were driving down some place and some villagers from the opposing camp rolled a ball down to the road. And they had these old Renaults, very tough ones, very old, crashed into that boulder. They were not injured, at least, but they never used to do internal things and all. They just went, check up a bit. The guy is like, no. We have to get to the next rally. So he moved on. After the checkups, they're like, this guy is not too bad. In fact, the checkup was done in the evening at the hospital. And it was just basic, how are you feeling? How are your bones? The doctor feels you. There are no x-rays and things like those.
Yeah.
So it turns out that when he had that accident, and he went on to play football even for the MP Parliament, Kenya Parliament team, at the bottom of his spine, there was a bit of a fragmentation that happened. So dropped into the spinal cord. Some bones fragmented at the bottom of the spine. And these things over the years, he'd once in a while complain of backache, whatever, and he was like, no, politicians and men, we don't go to hospital, don't like checkups. Now suddenly, he's very unwell because he can't stand straight, he's feeling pain in the back, his joints, even when the wind passes, he's feeling pain on the skin. We're like, what's this? So we started doing checkups. Now, because of those checkups, I wasn't able to, because now I was the one taking him around. Let's go to hospital, let's check here, let's do this. I wasn't able to fly out. I was like, once we are sorted with this thing, we'll know what happens and I'll go.
Yeah.
February, March, April. By the time we were realizing what he was suffering from, it was in May. By the time we've spent so much money on hospitals, they are not diagnosing. Gone to all the big hospitals. It was actually diagnosed by some hospital in Eldoret. Because he had been like, I'm tired of this. And he's in Nairobi. I'm going home.
Yeah.
So like a friend of his called me, hey, Prof, man, you used to be my teacher in KU. Come, let's check for you. So he did for him those checkups and he found the guy he'd developed leukemia. Based on the fact that the bones, when they fragmented, they went into the bloodstream and poisoned. So over time, sitting there, the blood was poisoned. And it now festered and created some case of leukemia.
Yeah.
So now, leukemia. Like, okay, so what we do? He's like, no, me, I've lived my life. I'm okay. Let's just try and maintain this thing. We manage it. So the doctors didn't want to tell us, but it was like stage 4. It was far gone, really far gone. But because, he never used to do oils. He never used to eat fried stuff all his life. So a lot of it didn't manifest. Yeah, it was like the body was just fighting and doing things. It was like, boiled maize, I don't know, nduma, I don't know, black, all those things.
Yeah.
Now, when he gets that sick, he goes back home, stays in the village. We try and manage stuff, buying him drugs and all. Even guys rally, MPs, and at that time he didn't make it into the 2002 parliament. So he's now an ex-MP.
Yeah.
When MPs are rallying, they're saying, we hear the guy is sick, we want to see what they were planning to actually lift him to the UK, because in the UK they transfuse. They treat leukemia. So I know they treat for kids.
Is it the one that they remove the bone marrow and replace it?
Yeah, bone marrow transplant.
It's a very expensive process.
Very. And there was no way this guy was going to spend any of his money. It's like, my kids have how many years to live, man? What am I? I've lived how many? What have I not done? I've served in all levels of government. What am I lacking?
Yeah.
So he was content to stay in the village there. These guys rallied, they put money together, they tried to whisk him, sneak him out of the country. He's like, but then I'll go, but I'll come back in a coffin. So they're like, okay. And with terminal diseases, if the person themselves, they don't have the will,
you never get
waste of time.
Yeah.
So it's like, no, me, I'm okay. So he just, slowly deteriorating. So the challenge was that because he was the go-to person, now it's a big crisis to everyone because they don't have a go-to person. And he doesn't have a go-to person.
Yeah. So he's just dealing with everything by himself.
Yes. The challenge of people who are go-to. And my mom, I think, used to tell me that thing. Don't be a go-to person for people who you cannot go to. Yeah, that's a waste of your life because you'll be the one, he told us. And people who take don't have limits. You just keep taking. Figure out how you can find some controls so that when things are tight, you can also go and get some relief. He never had that kind of a system. He was always the one at the top of the tree. Even if he had built this whole social network such that now people who are dependent on him were not too many. But still, he didn't have anyone he could be dependent on.
Yes.
So he stayed in charge. Then one day, my mom calls me from nowhere. Says, "Hey, are you in Nairobi? Hey, come. Where are your brothers? Call them. Your dad has been looking quite unwell the last few days. So you guys come, you need to come and see him." So we traveled. I think it was August holidays that year. August or September. Went, saw the guy. He was there. That time now, he has catheters. He has all sorts of things. Hair disappeared. But you can still hear his voice is strong. He's still talking. He's still, active. Yeah, guys, planning out life. So what are your kids doing? What are you guys doing? Okay, this is what you need to do. He's still planning things for people. Yeah. So anyway, she used to have intuition. Mothers have those things. She was basically telling us, hey, come and say Kwaheri. So we went, saw the guy. And then we came back to Nairobi. 2 months later, he passed on. Okay. That was but he had planned his life out. He had already seen.
He lived fully.
Yes. So he didn't have any regrets and all. So it was meant to be a bit of a celebration. But then what happened is it curtailed my plan.
I didn't go to study out
Yes, I didn't go. So I was like, now what am I going to do with school? Then at that time I had a sister. I have a younger sister. So she had just joined Catholic University that year.
So there is a fee back
there. Fee, So who's going to pay these fees? And he hadn't, these things of just amassing. He never amassed those things. Never. In fact, he died intestate. He didn't have a will even. So we're trying to process wills and things in 10 years later. That's when my mom was getting all the estate, whatever, letters of administration. So in that period, you couldn't choose any resources. See? And then, because there's no money in the bank and all these things, it was just a pension that was coming from MPs. And MP's salary was 72,000. So a pension from, 72,000. You can't believe what it is right now. But anyway, 72,000. So the pension of 72,000, they don't put inflationary protection.
Oh, yeah.
So whatever pension, it was 6,000, 5,000 pension, that is what you'll be sent. Till 19, whatever. They don't have any, inflation has, nothing. Up to you. So anyway, we got into the mode now to support my sister. Because I'm like, where I've reached, man, I can hustle through this life.
And there's something coming in. So.
Yes. This my sister doesn't have, so let's figure out what we can do for her. So we try to now get her through campus, continue going. So because now the resources, amazingly, when I would be selling insurance, because I guess sometimes they say people's prayers are answered through other people. So somehow I always had deals. There were always deals to settle her fees. I've sold this, I've done it, always. Until the day when she graduated. When she graduated, the deals disappeared. So I think
that is interesting.
God, in His wisdom, was answering her prayer through me and making sure that I had sufficient to support her. Which is what I did. So now when we finish then I'm now shifting to this other job. I'm like, hey, I need to get my paperwork in place, man. I can't go on like this. So I looked for a college. I'm like, all these things are so expensive. Then I have to leave the country. And I've never had the ambition to really relocate. My bros were there. They did 3-4 jobs. By the time they settled and became proper.
So sad.
At some point they had disappeared in the system. Because when your papers, whatever, expire and you can't surface, you just live underground until when they sorted out that stuff and all. So I was like, hey, that doesn't sound like a very good life. So I never had the ambition. A lot of guys sent me applications. We had people who left school, attending. Many guys left and gone to the US. Hey, there's a chance, there's a process, you can do this, that, the other. I would be half-hearted. I'd be like, I'll feel it, but I never ever went through with the process. I think also my dad passing on left such a dump in my life. I was like, why am I going that far? The guy is just here. I think you get such an attachment. You don't want to go far. Then my mom is here. We are still beating stories, the survival, how life was. Things were okay. So I was like, I'll stick around. So then I looked for a college online. I got Washington University, joined, and that's when I did my business administration, international business administration, online for like 3 years. By the time I had already joined UNED by that time, changed into MTN. The likes of Bitang and them had come into power, and we got our undersea cable. And then from there, as you say,
Did you join? That's when you joined Safaricom.
So now Safaricom poached me from MTN business 2010. They're like, hey, we hear you do this, that, the other. Come on, you can do for us a few things. And I joined Safaricom. Account manager. Then moved on, started managing people. By the time it was 5 years, I think I had moved up. Like every 2 years, I kept moving. So it was a good time as well. In that period is when also, I think the prowess within the industry now,
Started in it.
I was just now showcasing a lot of things, talents and all, innovations, change systems in Safaricom, help them to get better strategies around going to market, revenue generation for the enterprise side, where the guys would set up the enterprise business unit actually.
Yeah.
So Oracle guys come and say, hey, we hear you're doing this, that, the other, somebody has left.
The guru.
Come, and so they
So you were the one who set up Oracle in Kenya, right?
No. Oracle in Kenya had been set up by, there's a guy who was there before, who was also I had met in high school. So he's the one who set it up.
Yeah.
And he had really done a lot. He's the guy who actually made me move from Safaricom.
Because there was that connection from high school.
From high school. Okay. And also, they had lost somebody. There's a guy who, I don't know, I think it was fraud or something. Anyway, somebody left unceremoniously. The guy was in the role. So then I moved into the role. So then I ran the role for like 1 year. And then this guy who had pulled me in moved to another company to become now a serious don on that side, but left me exposed. I'm like, wow, because now I needed to move. He was country leader.
Yeah.
So I needed to have done at least 3 years to qualify to be country leader. He left when I was at 1.5 years. So they brought in somebody else and we never got along. They brought in some lady and she just, I don't know, there was some insecurities around, maybe I know stuff. I want her role. I was not interested. I was happy in the role that I had. But anyway, long and short is, with all experience and all, she created a restructuring. Said it was global, but it was just targeting me and another guy, 2 guys. She had her own plans. But I said, anyway, what transpired from that, why I was not too disappointed is because from that experience, I then now went into consulting. Now set up my own business, entrepreneurship. So it wasn't very much, how would I put it? It wasn't voluntary per se. I was pushed into it, circumstances. That's 2017. Just come out of an election. We've had a rerun. Everybody's just looking like things are bad in this country. And then somebody tells you, by the way, your job is surplus to requirements. I'm like, okay, what do we do? It's not my dad's company. So, So
move along.
Let me come and remember what Jack Ma used to say, 9 to 5, 5 to 9. Do your thing, learn as much as you can, because one day you'll need those skills. Now you coalesce and consolidate all those skills and the skill set into now consulting. Then I go into consulting across now different lines of business, financial planning because of insurance. I'm doing also career planning because of all these recruitment things that I've been doing in Safaricom. It was a very big segment of my role. And then I was also doing sales management. In that period, I go and consult for a company called Avanti. It was a VSAT from the UK. Consult, give them a plan to do East Africa, what they can do, grow the business and all. After 2-3 months of back and forth trying to help them out, they're like, this thing of yours, man, it's brilliant, but we are unable to execute. Please, can you come on board, help us to execute it? So I joined Avanti now full time. I left the the consulting for a bit. I was in Avanti for the next 2 years or so. 2018 up to 2021. Then last year, they got hit, COVID and all. And then the thing that you never hear a lot about, they sold out the products. Basically, it's a satellite company, so it has capacity that is bought in a transponder in the sky. That is the transponder that is used to provide internet connectivity.
When the cable doesn't work, or?
No, So some places people still use satellite. But it was mostly for remote regions and also backhauling. Like Safaricom, there are base stations like in Garissa, Lodwar. They use VSAT. Yes, because the VSAT base station takes like 2 days to set up. Very quick, very cheap, maybe $5,000, $7,000. The typical base station, normal one, takes about a month and costs about $800,000, $750,000. It's a massive difference. But then this one, money. But this doesn't carry too much capacity. And in any case, they put it in areas where the population is very little. It doesn't justify investing $750,000 to set up that. So we got good business in setting up those ones. Kenya and also a lot for MTN, South Sudan, DRC, Uganda, Somali, a lot until we ran out of capacity. So now what were we doing there? I was just sitting managing customers. People call, I'm now managing complaints. I'm like, this is not the life. I think it's just sapping my energy.
2 years.
What am I doing here? So anyway, they gave us an option, handshake, guys can leave. We create a smaller business that just manages the customers we have on board because we can't grow any further.
Sure.
I'm like, handshake. So I left last year in September and now moved back into consulting. Now full swing into startups. Building stuff, trying to figure out what guys are trying
That
to
is
achieve
in
in the
tech?
market. Yes, tech, mostly fintech, agri-tech.
Yeah.
Those two. So
And when I look at your experience, Paul, it's quite amazing that you have come a long way. And now when we put the stories, your personal growth story and what you are doing right now, it becomes a full house in how someone can understand, what you have been doing throughout the different, career path that you have had. And it's quite outstanding, I would say, and we are honored to have you here today. I would like to ask your parting shot to our listeners.
Okay.
I like that thought. I love that thought.
I think I there are so many shots. That's the problem.
Just
so
one.
I'm trying to I think confine it into just maybe one thing that I can say.
Yeah.
That will probably can add value to people.
Someone, yeah.
I think
especially to entrepreneurs.
Yeah. So on the I think on the entrepreneur end, what I've always seen is as a big challenge is everybody is interested in setting up something. Where we find people are struggling to scale is because we are always going out to create products and look for customers for products. Whereas we are actually supposed to create products for our customers, not look for customers for our product.
So provide solutions to the customers.
Yes, which means there's something that is existing. There's a gulf, there's a gap, there's a need, there's a pain.
Yeah.
We're going to solve that pain.
Yeah.
We're looking at who is our competitor, how many people are impacted by this pain. If I'm in the same pain, would I use this product that I'm setting up? How far, what more can I do with it in terms of getting out of my boundaries?
Yeah.
If you figure that out, it resolves many problems around useless products that we have in the marketplace.
Yeah.
Because people come in, they say, I saw something in San Francisco, I saw something in where they come, they create something, they say, okay, we are going to market.
Yeah.
Ideally, for the ones that are scalable and the quickest to actually return revenue, are those products that are addressing a need that was identified before the product was even concepted.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even when I was in Safaricom, we came up with many products.
Yeah.
We started looking for customers for those products. It is the hardest thing you'll ever do in sales.
True.
If we just went and discovered what are the products that customers require, the customers will come.
For those
because
products.
they already know what they need.
Yeah.
And unless you're Steve Jobs, because that's the one guy that I know who created...
To say the customer doesn't know what they need until
he
they
created
have.
the need. He influenced the pain himself. He went and told us the way these phones we have are of no use. They are not phones. We need a phone that can do computerization, can do photos, everything together like a computer.
Yeah.
And we suddenly said, yeah, we have this pain. We never had such a pain.
Yeah.
There was no such pain. He created it. And from there, Apple has never looked back.
Yeah.
Everybody else, of course, you will get one of those. There are a few of those outliers
true.
which you get. Yeah, people create something and they force it into the market and it works. Majority of the time, especially for us when we're trying to start up things, before you really have the revenues to drive solutions, try and see how you can address a pain that is existing.
True.
It will solve so many problems down the road.
Yeah.
And now in there, you're now building things of your intelligence, that thing of knowing one thing about so many things helps to build your capacity around being a reference or go-to person to help people, lift them up, and then just understanding your surroundings, which is, people call it EQ. Just knowing, okay, where I am and how can I help myself in the environment that I am. And this is not limited to techies. It's actually just across the globe. We also do some career counseling.
Yeah.
Additionally is to know there's a time when you'll have a lot of adversity. So there's that EQ you need to build. That adversity.
Is it emotional quotient or?
Emotional is the one where you just understand your surroundings, how people are around you, what they are doing, and how you respond to those non-verbal cues.
Yeah.
Somebody's in pain, you're trying to sell something to them. It doesn't make any sense. People haven't eaten the whole day, you're trying to talk about this utopia of we'll do this, that, the other.
Yeah.
The things we were talking about for, Northeastern.
Yeah.
Are we trying to sell to them, we'll bring drones to, I don't know, do what. These guys are dying. They have not even had water for 4 days.
A drone would save 4 families. A drone.
So, you see, so the mismatch. So it's just to understand, it's not just about understanding the people around you, it's also that environment.
Yeah.
So that then you apply accordingly to that environment to get the best, both from the environment and from yourself.
Yeah.
Adversity is these things we talk about. It doesn't mean our careers will always be a straight line. They'll never be. There'll be dips. There'll be places when somebody will wake up and tell you, there are planes that have crashed into these 2 towers and your job is gone. what are you going to do? Are you going to repair the towers?
No.
Yeah, you move on with life. I mean, you have to find a way. Or you'll be told, okay, you sold all the capacity, or I don't like your face. There are people like that, you know. That's just the way life is. I don't like your face, please. Tomorrow, I don't want to see that face here. Yeah, find a place where that face will be liked and take it there. So, and then there's also one from my mom, which is, used to call it the love quotient, LQ, which is very important to people who come from very disadvantaged environments because you've had so much pain, hatred, anger tied in. You've never really experienced love because love unlocks so many other things beyond all the other Qs. Because if you find somebody who's a boss, this LQ is sorted. That guy will treat people well. He will apply his intelligence properly. He'll have the right emotional balance. He'll also have the social. Social is where I'm stuck on the road. At 3 a.m., I can make 2 calls.
Yeah.
Maybe the first call won't be picked. The second one will be picked and somebody will show up.
Yeah.
That is social. If you don't have that, it's time to work on it because it means the day you'll be stranded, you're alone. Yeah, and there are times when you think your resources will do work for you. You have 10 farms, whatever, land and everything. When you're sick, the hospital is not interested in the land. They want cash to sort out bills.
Yeah.
You have to look for somebody to liquidate this land of yours.
Yes.
Many times, a lot of our wealthy people don't even have that. So if you can cut across on all those, especially the LQ one, those Qs make sense across all industries. Yeah. But they're very important for people who are trying to start up and do something because you don't exist in a vacuum. Yeah. You have to understand how everything fits in with this thing that you're trying to build and how it adds value. The moment you're there, transforming lives, changing, impacting more than one person, you have a chance of making it in life. If it's just for you that you're looking at and you're most interested in the revenues, you will sink because your eye will be so much on that revenue, you will forget how you even got there, which means that when you start tumbling down, you will not know what to hold on to because you don't know what you built going up. Yeah, it's like a house that comes up in 2 days. The other guy takes 3 months to build up the house because concrete needs to keep drying up. You came with your wood, you stuck the wood in the ground and you started hammering upstairs and going. When the wind comes, that wood goes down in 2 days. Whereas the other guy who took 3 months, 6 months, his house still stands. So it's not always that because your colleague has done something overnight and it's working, you also want to do overnight. You give it time. Trust the process. You'll probably get to a success level. And we are still going. We are not finished.
Gems after gems.
Yeah.
Paul Angatia. Thank you so much. This was amazing. This was great. And this is the kind of conversation that will change Africa as we know it. And it's one thing to say something and it's another thing to do, but Paul Angatia has said and done it. And he's still here. We can learn a lot from him. But for today, I would like to thank you for joining us. This is Michael Kimathi for Impact Masters and Africa's Talking Podcast. Until next time, see you.